Hello and welcome to this week's episode of The Amazing Nerdiverse, episode 10 of The Amazing Nerdiverse. I'm Jeff Grants.
I'm Steven Tugert. Double digits.
It's been a crazy couple of days.
Yep.
But it's been crazy, scary, all kinds of things. But The Amazing Nerdiverse is a safe place.
Yep.
For everyone. So let's go there now.
Let's go there now.
Let's go there right now.
Let's talk about important things.
Yeah. Doctor Strange came out last week. We did our review of it. We did the spoiler review on last week's episode, but we also did our first video review. That's on the YouTube channel now. Check it out. Tell people. Share it. This is how we're going to get the word out there. There's a couple things I want to address about the Doctor Strange review, though.
What?
One is, there was a couple. We had trouble with some of the names of the characters.
Did we?
Yeah. I looked it up and then immediately started saying it wrong. It's Caecilius was the name.
How were you saying it before?
I think I was saying Calisius or whatever, because I said it was like Caecilius, Calisius, Calisi. And then I just started saying Calisius the whole time, but it's Caecilius. Is the name. Mordo. I kept saying Mordu, I think.
Did you?
Yeah. It's the problem. Just like I see the words and like I just read it so fast that like I kind of just hear it in my head as I'm reading it, and I always thought it was Baron Mordu. I don't know why, but it's Baron Mordo, or that's what he will be called. Yeah. Right now it was Carl, I believe his first name was. I don't know if it's Carl with a K. Mordo. Dormammu is the proper way to say that. And
Dormammu.
Yeah, but Dormammu is kind of how they say it.
Call him Moo
in the movies and the animated movie and everything.
If you want to get on his nerves, you just go, hey, sup, Moo?
Sup, Moo? Doctor Strange knows all about getting on Moo-Moo's nerves. In the Eye of Agamotto.
Agamotto?
Agamotto.
Not Motto.
Not Motto. Agamotto. Not Motu, I think is what you were saying.
Was it?
Yeah. Anyway, there was one thing I wanted to point out. We talked about in our spoiler review last week. Spoilers if you haven't seen the movie, but this will just be briefly. I'll put a spoiler thing up if you're listening on YouTube, put a spoiler thing up and you can mute it, and when it goes away, we're done talking about that. In the movie, we were talking about how early in the movie he's on the phone and he's hearing about potential clients, or not clients, but like
I know what you mean.
Yeah,
patients,
yeah, potential patients and everything. That's the word.
Because he's a veterinarian.
And one of them sounded like, we thought it sounded kind of like it might be Rhodey.
Right. I didn't catch that. You caught that.
I caught that, but...
What, were you wrong or something?
Well, it turns out that, like, it sounds like this is, it's actually the guy from Hammer Tech in Iron Man 2. Remember when Justin Hammer, Sam Rockwell, was trying to make his own suits? Yeah. And they, like, crushed the one guy in the suit? It was that guy that they were talking about.
Dude, I hate that scene. Are you talking about the one where it spun around?
Yeah. It was like broken spine, whatever.
I can't deal with that.
Yeah.
I really can't. Now I feel sick, for real.
Well, that's what they were talking about in Doctor Strange, but you need a doctor like Dr. Stephen Strange to fix that guy.
Yeah. Ugh.
Like, does it make it at all better knowing that later that guy was Well, he didn't.
Well,
Turns out he didn't. Yeah, he didn't do it. Yeah, but so that means that I've been thinking the time frame was because of that scene. Yeah. I was thinking the time frame was from Civil War to now, or to when Thor Ragnarok comes out, because that's the
So officially, you looked it up, and it's that guy.
That's what people are saying. Yeah, and what that means is that this started a lot earlier. Yeah. This journey, so it's more of a span of years. Yeah. So that was one of the things we talked about in our review, is that the time frame was a little wonky for us. There is one thing that someone pointed out. There is an award on Stephen Strange that's a 2016 award. And that, I just write that off as just a goof in the production, and that happens all the time. When it comes to being a specific year, people put the year the movie comes out, and it just kind of goes under the radar and people forget about it. And still on the spoiler tip, the one big thing we forgot to talk about last week was the Eye of Agamotto being the 5th Infinity Stone. Yeah. We completely skipped over that. But now we know what all 5 of the Infinity Stones are, or 5 of the 6. What do you think the 6th Infinity Stone, which movie do you think is going to pop up in?
Let's see who's left. You got Guardians.
Which I think James Gunn said there wouldn't be an Infinity Stone in that one.
You got Black Panther.
Maybe somewhere in Wakanda.
You got Spider-Man
Homecoming, which is part Sony. I don't think they would bury something like that in that movie, really.
I think my guess would be Black Panther.
Actually, Thor Ragnarok. I forgot about that one.
Either Thor or Black Panther, I would say.
Now knows about the Infinity Stones.
Right. He probably might look for it.
He's probably going to find one somewhere, and that's probably... I mean, he's got a lot to deal with in that movie now.
Like he's skipping pebbles at a little lake.
He picks one up and is like, "Hey, that's an Infinity Stone."
And he just whips it across.
He's like, "Oh." No, but he knows about him now after Age of Ultron. He learned a little more about him. So he was actually talking about, trying to hunt some of these things down.
How safe would you feel if you're sitting in the Sanctum Sanctorum with Thor and Doctor Strange?
Right.
Like how safe, like just nice and cozy.
Nice and just bundled up. He can make you a hot chocolate like that.
Yeah. And then Thor is just there.
Yeah, drinking beer. Getting rowdy. Love that guy.
It's starting some shit.
All right. Okay, so that's it for this.
I'm having a hard time getting that image out of my head.
What?
Of the dude in the suit now. God.
All right, we'll talk about other things.
Yeah, please.
All right. Okay, that's the end of the spoiler alert section for the Doctor Strange talk. We talked plenty about it last week. It was just a couple things I wanted to touch on. We don't have a lot to talk about this week as far as there's nothing big to review. You're still not caught up on a lot of the TV shows.
I have a quick question.
Yeah.
I forget if we've talked about this before.
Okay.
But on Gotham, how they brought in Hugo Strange.
Yeah.
They can't really call him Doctor Strange, can they?
I guess not. No.
Right? Have I mentioned this before?
I think it's Professor. I think they call him Professor Strange.
Yeah. I was thinking about that while I was watching it a while ago. I was like, you can't really call him Doctor Strange.
No, not really.
Because that's somebody else.
Yeah. It's Benedict Cumberbatch.
That's it. That's all I had.
Okay. So what I decided to do, there's a lot of news coming out. I thought we would be light on news.
Mm-hmm.
Like as I was first started working on this earlier in the week, and then just everything just started pouring through. So there's a lot of stuff to talk about. So this is going to be like a mostly news episode of the show.
Cue up the news music.
Pew. All right, first up, and I'm so excited about this, man. I got this news the other night, and I immediately just, yes, out loud.
Yogi Bear 2.
No.
Scooby-Doo 3.
Warner Brothers Animation has confirmed, they have announced, they are working on a Young Justice Season 3.
Oh, nice.
They're finally bringing the show back. It's been 3 years since it was canceled.
Really?
Yeah, it's been 3 years, and now they're finally bringing it back. Maybe they're realizing that not everybody's into Teen Titans Go or stuff like that.
Is that show not doing so well?
I don't know. It's just not. I mean, I thought it was fine, but I kind of fell off of it. I was watching it. It's just fun little.
I've never watched it, but I know what it's supposed to be.
Yeah. It seems like it's.
I like the other version of it.
The old one.
Yeah.
They did some cool stuff in there. They had they had Deathstroke in there, and they did the stuff with Tara and everything.
There was one bit where Robin was fighting Deathstroke, or he was not under mind control, but he had something on him. He's like, okay, you got to break into this building and get something.
Yeah. And
so the rest of the Titans, showed up to try to stop Robin. And then
was that when he was wearing the X stuff? Yeah.
And then when he kind of beat them all up and ran away.
Yeah.
And you pan out and the building was Wayne.
Oh yeah.
I was like, oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Because that's Batman. I don't know if you know that.
Oh, it is?
Yeah.
Oh, that's who Batman is?
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I'm super excited for that. I think we've talked before about how much I love Young Justice, and I truly felt like that was the last great DC animated show. I think they're still doing okay in the animated features, like the direct to DVD movies and stuff. But that show, I loved it, and I'm super stoked that it's coming back.
It seems like DC is better with TV shows.
Yes,
and
animation. They were killing it in animation. I mean, Marvel in the 90s, Marvel had the X-Men and the Spider-Man at the same time.
And I sounded so old. The X-Men and the Spider-Man.
They had the X-Men and the Spider-Man. No, they had the X-Men animated series and the Spider-Man.
Those were such good shows.
They were great, yeah. And they came out shortly after the Batman the animated series did. But Batman the animated series kept going. It turned into a different show, The New Adventures of Batman and Robin, I think it was called.
Yeah.
And then it went on to Superman and Justice League and Justice League Unlimited and all this stuff. Batman Beyond, that Tim-verse, the Bruce Timm animated universe of all those shows. And Yeah, Young Justice was the last one of those, and I'm so glad they're coming back. They haven't confirmed whether it's coming back on Cartoon Network,
which is
where it originally aired. It's on Netflix now, the first 2 seasons.
Okay.
And like Netflix has picked up a lot of shows like that, like Arrested Development or Trailer Park Boys, and maybe Netflix works something out with them to do it. All I know is I'm just super stoked that there's going to be more of it.
How do you think they decide how long to leave like shows on there?
Like, on Netflix?
Yeah, like as long as they have like a certain number on.
I mean, I think they probably have a contract with the studios and stuff, like a year.
Right.
It's on there because there's a lot of stuff that's like still popular on Netflix that it pulls off because the contract is up.
So like even if like you're going through X-Files all through through all 9 seasons, and it takes you a while.
Yeah.
Like if you run out of time, they're just gonna pull it out.
Yeah. If that contract with Fox expires, and they don't renew it, yeah. But like, I think most TV networks are pretty good about that. I think the things we see getting pulled off the most are the movies. And stuff. You see them come and go quite a bit more than TV.
Yeah, now that you mention it, yeah.
Yeah, because like, I mean, CW has been pretty good about that for as long as I can remember. They never had Smallville on there, but they've had.
Well, that doesn't bother me. I've got all.
Yeah, I mean, me too. But like,
DVD.
It's on Hulu now. But
best lawyers and doctors.
Yeah. And like, yes, CW's been pretty good. A lot of the major networks, like I think Fox and
do you remember when I had said like, oh, do you want to do like a Smallville themed podcast?
Yeah.
And you were like, well, gee, I don't know if we can talk about for an hour. I was like, well, we've been talking about it for the past 10 years, so.
Yeah. All right, the next news story. This is according to the Hollywood Reporter. Fox is apparently considering rebooting the X-Men franchise.
You mean just
like starting fresh?
Even the Michael Fassbender and
Well, their contracts were up. They were only for 3 movies.
Oh, that's right. They did 3, didn't they?
Yeah.
That kind of went quick, didn't it?
Yeah. And as far as those movies, that trilogy of movies, Michael Fassbender and James McAvoy, those 2 roles, like they were perfect.
Yeah,
they were fantastic throughout all 3 movies. I thought.
I really liked X-Men First Class.
Yeah, I really liked X-Men First Class as well. I actually liked Days of Future Past a lot.
Costumes were really good.
Apocalypse was okay. Like,
do you have that yet?
No, not yet. It's out now, but I haven't picked it up yet. When I do, I'll let you borrow it. But yeah, so they're planning on. I mean, there's good stuff in it. I am curious to get the Blu-ray because there's a lot of stuff that they cut out, like of the X-Men just being teenagers and like going to a mall.
Give me a percentage of how much Cyclops is in it. Good Cyclops.
Cyclops is good in it.
Yeah.
He's not like he's in it like about as much as any of the main other X-Men.
Okay.
He's in it a good bit. You'll be pleased with the amount he's in the movie.
Does he shoot a lake and die?
No.
All right, good.
But so Fox is considering rebooting, which, as much as I like the new actors, I like James McAvoy and Fassbender. Their contracts are up, but I have heard them, at least McAvoy and maybe Fassbender, talk about how they might consider coming back if the other guys were, and like if it was me, if it was up to me, I would prefer they keep just about all the young cast that we saw in Apocalypse that was introduced in there. I would like to keep, Quicksilver and Xavier and Magneto. Get out.
Who do you think would make it? Okay, first of all,
Mystique and
we talked about Logan already, right? Before?
We talked about the trailer. Yeah.
It looks really, really good.
It looks great, yes. But that's one of the reasons.
Did we talk about who you would recast as Wolverine?
Did we?
I can't remember. I don't think so.
I don't know, but if they do reboot it, I kind of want them to do. Here's what I would like to see if they reboot the movies. I'd like to see them start completely over, and maybe like some of the cast members, like McAvoy, or some of them could do it, but it might be too confusing. It might be the best thing to do is just start it completely over.
Yeah,
start it completely over. Do the first movie. You just basically set up a trilogy because that's how the only way they can think these days is in 3s.
Right.
Start the first movie. You have Xavier and the original 5 X-Men.
Yes, please.
Beast, Iceman, Cyclops, Jean Grey, and Angel.
You
start with the 5 of them.
Yeah.
Do them. Maybe they have the the original costumes, I'd be okay.
I liked how they did it in First Class.
Yeah, they can have costumes like that. As long as they're blue and yellow and the color scheme works, that's fine. Beast before he turns blue.
Would you do it like present day or go back a little bit?
I'd probably do it present day.
Yeah.
Yeah, because going back in the past is the problem they're having now is it's just they have to jump forward 10 years to eventually catch up every time they do a movie, and that's just not working. Although if they did another one and set it in the 90s, I'd be cool with that because 90s X-Men's the best. And like
I just like how you said that.
Well, yeah.
90s X-Men's the best.
Yeah, whoa.
It was though.
It was. Yeah, that's when X-Men was killing it. Like they had the most I still think the record still stands. X-Men #1 that was drawn by Jim Lee is like sold over 1 million copies. It's the most selling issue of comics period, I believe. Yeah, the theme song was awesome. They adapted so many classic comic book storylines into that show. But so yeah, start with that, and then the villain can be Magneto and the Brotherhood, like Toad and maybe Jean Grey, or not Jean Grey, Scarlet Witch and Quicksilver and those guys. And then the next movie you introduce Wolverine and
I'd wait for
Storm and Nightcrawler and bring those in.
I'd wait for the third movie.
Yeah.
Strictly because of the poster idea.
Well, they did that with X-Men 3.
I know, but I mean, look, think about it. The third one, everything's all quiet and you just see the poster and it's just the 3 claws. You're like, he's coming. Awesome. Yeah. You know what I mean?
That would be cool.
If you make it the third movie, you give it some time to breathe without Wolverine, you start to miss him.
Well, maybe in the second one you introduce, because I was thinking like, because when giant-sized X-Men, that's when they really shook up the roster, and Wolverine, Storm, Colossus, Nightcrawler, all of them joined. Mm-hmm. And now that I'm thinking about it, they're all teenagers. The Colossus that we saw in Deadpool, because from what they're saying is it sounds like Deadpool, they're just. That's the only thing that's not going to be touched by this, because they have plans for Deadpool 3 now.
Deadpool 3?
They haven't even done 2 yet, but they're already planning ahead for 3 when they're talking about introducing X-Force and stuff. So I would like them to start fresh with the universe, but keep what Deadpool offers, that version of Colossus. I don't know if they started over and everything, if that version of Colossus... he seems too old, kind of, to be in the.
Do you like just regular? Do you picture him being older or younger?
Colossus,
just in general.
I guess maybe the age that he kind of was in the other movies. Those other movies didn't do the best job with Colossus, but that age was kind of fine.
Right.
I mean, they're all teenagers when they start out. Yeah. I don't know for sure about Colossus and all them when they started, but the original 5 were teenagers, and that's. The whole point, they're at school and everything, and like I would like to see the 5. And in like the first issue of the comic, it was just the 4 guys, and then Jean Grey came in, and they kind of were all like, kind of hitting on her and stuff like that, and like that character, she responded to it great because she could like flip them up in the air and do all kinds of stuff. So it was a lot of fun. It was 60s campy, fun and stuff. But they could play with those things in this movie, have them go against the Brotherhood. In the second movie, you add in more X-Men and stuff.
I think the problem that they're so convoluted.
Yeah, their history that they don't pay attention to canon. Like they don't.
Why wouldn't you?
I don't know. But they've always just thrown the canon out the door.
Yeah, don't worry about it.
Do whatever works for that particular movie, which sometimes can work in some instances and stuff for the better. I mean, I'm glad they ignore some of the canon that they established. I'm glad they ignore X-Men Origins Wolverine. Anyway, I mean, maybe it is best for them to reboot everything, start over. But what they should do is reboot everything, start over with Marvel's assistance.
Oh, yeah.
Because Sony didn't just give Spider-Man to Marvel. They're working together.
They had to crash that plane.
They're still making money from that deal. With Spider-Man, they're still making money off all the Spider-Man movies. Marvel is just helping with the creative, which is what Sony had a problem with, which is the same thing that Fox has a problem with.
It'd be great if Marvel was like, "Do you want to see what the movie looks like when it's good?"
Kevin Feige, just a bully, just pushing him around. It's like, you want to see what happens when your movie's good? Here, all right, I'm done. There it is.
Was that so hard?
All right, next up, they cast Steppenwolf in Justice League.
I don't know what Steppenwolf is.
Steppenwolf is going to be the villain in Justice League. He is I think he's one of the new gods. He's related to Apocalypse, or he's from Apocalypse. He's related to Darkseid. He is like his uncle, I think. We saw
that
him.
Just sounds silly.
We saw him.
It's
Yeah, it does when you say that. Like that's why I was kind of skirting around. Yeah, he's his uncle. Sounds kind of weird. He's like he's a little bit of a dick, but he's my uncle. So my mom makes me let him be part of my evil group of.
He gave him his first beer.
You're not gonna know much about this. It's a Game of Thrones actor, Syrian Hines, who played Mance Rayder in Game of Thrones. Mm-hmm. He's an older actor. He was really great, and I think it's just interesting to see. Oh, that guy, I know him from Game of Thrones, and he was really great in it. I'm curious to see what he's gonna bring to this role as Steppenwolf. We saw Steppenwolf at the end of Batman vs Superman, or no, actually, it wasn't in the movie. It was cut out, but the week after the movie came out, they released the deleted scene of Lex in the crash, like, Kryptonian ship or whatever, and him talking to this, kind of...
That's in a deleted scene?
It was in a deleted scene. It was added back in for the Ultimate Edition.
Does he have a bag full of Jolly Ranchers?
No, he has 3 mother boxes.
Full of Jolly Ranchers.
But it's what I thought was really cool in Man of Steel, and they only did a little bit in the second one, but in Batman vs Superman, the way instead of a computer screen or whatever, it was little metal moving around and stuff and making the shapes. It was kind of like a hologram but made of metal of this guy Steppenwolf.
Okay.
And so you kind of really just see a metal outline of him.
Yeah.
With the 3 mother boxes.
Yeah. I know
So that's who's supposed to be the big bad in Justice League. Mm-hmm. But the way they've always been approaching this, it sounds like Justice League, they've announced Justice League Part 1 and Part 2.
Yeah.
Or at least Justice League 1 and 2. I think, Steppenwolf's the first hurdle they got to get through, and then they get to Darkseid in the next one. Mm-hmm. So, moving on, we talked about all the people being added to the Defenders last week.
See who we got. You mean we
talked about it last week. It's pretty much everybody.
Everybody?
Yeah. Well, there's one more to add to that, everybody.
Who?
Elektra is coming back in Defenders.
I keep forgetting that she gets the old.
Yeah, spoiler alert. She gets got. She spoiler alert, she got killed at the end of that show.
Well,
but
hold on now. In the comics,
she was killed and came back and
wait a minute.
Things.
You're telling me that in the comic books they killed a character and came back?
Well, it's definitely not. If you saw all of Daredevil, if you saw the way season 2 ended, it ended with them putting her in this chamber thing. The hand was going to bring her back anyway.
Some kind of voodoo science?
Some kind of crazy voodoo science, magic, all that good stuff. So she's coming back. Maybe she's going to... I mean, she sounds like she might be a bad guy because the hand are bringing her back, and we got a lot of good guys.
Have a little bit of that bloodlust from Arrow?
Yeah, like she's trying to saw people's head off and jumping around on them like a crazy feral beast.
Feral beast.
Yeah. All right, so starting now is our Spider-Man Homecoming chunk.
Nice.
There's a lot of Spider-Man Homecoming stuff to talk about. I don't know if you know this.
Yeah. But I like Spider-Man.
Oh, okay. Did not know that about you.
No?
I think that's the first thing I ever learned about you. So yeah, there was a lot of talk about Zendaya was playing Mary Jane.
Okay.
She has come out and said that everyone is off on that. She's not playing Mary Jane. She's not even the love interest in the movie.
She's the Vulture.
No, she's not even. She said all the speculation has been way off. She's not even the love interest in the movie.
Not the Vulture, but well, go for it. Make her the Vulture, but making her Mary Jane. Why not?
Well, what they're doing, it sounds like, and more on the Vulture in a second, but what they're doing is Liz Allen will be the love interest in the movie. Okay. And if you know the old original first issues of the comics, Liz Allen was another kid in their school. Uh-huh. She eventually married Harry Osborn. Uh-huh. And she actually is an African American actress, I believe.
Oh, okay.
Laura Harrier is playing her, so it's not Mary Jane, but it's still the love interest is going to be a person of color, so that's still cool. It's not Mary Jane, but I mean, Liz Allen was just
So are the
white
other ones,
blonde girl from the comics.
So Mary Jane, Gwen. I was about to say Gwen Stefani.
Gwen Stefani. See, I don't know if Peter ever got with Liz Allen. I think maybe he was interested because in the comics, like, I guess she was the only girl around that like he would have a crush on. So I think he kind of had a crush on her and didn't really.
I thought it was always Gwen Stacy at first.
Well, Gwen Stacy came in a little later. Actually, his first girlfriend was Betty Brant, who was played by Elizabeth Banks in the Sam Raimi movies. She is J. Jonah Jameson's assistant. So, maybe start out with, I mean, they just call her love interest. That doesn't mean they ever get together.
Right.
But she could be the girl he has a crush on. Then he meets, I still don't see, even if they started everything over and did, we're going to do everything like the comics.
Yeah.
Still don't see them, think they might skip over Betty Brant altogether.
Yeah.
We might see Gwen Stacy later, then Mary Jane, or vice versa. Like in the Ultimate Spider-Man, it started out with Mary Jane was the girl in school that he was in love with. The comics, he didn't meet her till way later. It was his Aunt May, her friend, was like her niece, and like they tried to get them together, and he was always like, "Oh, Aunt May, I don't want to go out with this girl that you're trying to set me up with." And there's a classic door open reveal, face it, tiger, you hit the jackpot, and he's like, "Boom, in." All right, so they're switching around and stuff. We'll probably see Mary Jane eventually. I'd like to see her again. I'd like to see her done well. Because we've talked about this before too. Wasn't a huge fan of Kirsten Dunst's version of Mary Jane.
I haven't watched the first movie in a long time.
Yeah.
I wonder how like.
I watched all of the Spider-Man movies over again. I was so excited for Civil War.
Even Amazing Spider-Man 2?
All of them. Even the Amazing Spider-Man. I was so excited for Civil War. I rewatched all of the MCU movies.
Right.
And all of the Spider-Man movies.
Goodness.
Yeah. That's 17 movies. I got into it. I got deep into it.
Apparently.
Yeah. Okay, another Spider-Man related tidbit. Tom Holland says he's signed on with a 6-film deal.
Oh, yeah.
6-film deal with Marvel and Sony.
I mean, he's definitely gonna, at the end of that, he's gonna renew the contract.
Hopefully. Yeah. This kid can play Spider-Man forever.
For a long
forever. God. I would watch like a 60-year-old Tom Holland play Spider-Man. There's this one, like, you know how like every character has that like end of the road kind of story for them, like Old Man Logan or The Dark Knight Returns. There's one with Spider-Man. I think it's called Spider-Man Reign. It's pretty messed up.
Yeah, I have that. I haven't read it in a while, but I have that.
Yeah, there's some messed up stuff in there with Mary Jane, how she went out.
I can't remember that.
Basically, because he was radioactive, they were married, they were having sex, he kind of infected her with like radioactive and she died of cancer.
Well, that's not good.
All those stories are always incredibly depressing, but that one was like, oh man.
Yeah.
And you just see like a old Peter Parker just shrivel in his house, just.
That's not how Spidey's supposed to go out.
Nope. Spider-Man old doesn't work for me.
Yeah.
But I will continue to watch Tom Holland do it for as long as he wants to stick with that. Okay, and this is the one that's not really news, but it's good to know. Kevin Feige has finally confirmed that Michael Keaton is playing the Vulture.
Oh, he is?
Yeah, we all knew it was going to happen. We all knew he was going to play the Vulture since his first casting. Everyone knew, but this is the first time we've ever officially got confirmation from someone at Marvel, in this case Kevin Feige, that he is playing Vulture. So Birdman, Batman, Vulture, it's all in his wheelhouse, baby. So that's good to know. Did you see there was some like concept art of the Vulture released?
No, I haven't.
Yeah,
well, I mean, you know.
Yeah, this is like early designs and stuff, but it looks like the wings are cool. They're like metal. I'll add this up on the website, but they're metal. They have that like kind of like the circles on each side. They kind of have like an owl-like face on them and stuff. Like in the first thing we saw, you got the little crazy talon feet thing. He's got. I've been told they're green pants. I can't really tell which they were green in the comics and stuff, but he's got like a brown leather
jacket. Kind of looks like the Bane
jacket. Yeah. I don't know. It kind of looked to me like Old Man Logan with wings.
Right on.
Yeah.
So let's do it.
I don't know. I mean, like, as much as I like everything that Marvel's done so far with the design of most of their characters, like, I don't know if this one's working for me right now.
Well, again,
but to be fair, the Vulture costume was goofy as all hell, and it wouldn't work in live action.
Well, this might be his first. You know, like he might just throw something together real quick, and then
And in the comic, his face was wide open, so maybe this is him before, like when he's trying to be stealthy about it, and trying not to let everyone know.
And eventually he's like, yeah,
he's like, screw it, I'm Michael Keaton, I'm gone, I've gone nuts, I got wings now.
I'm Vulture Man.
Vulture Man coming for you.
Is that Gorilla Grodd?
No, this is the first like good look we've got of King Kong and Kong Skull Island.
Who'd win in a fight, King Kong or Tarzan?
King Kong, is it the King Kong that's...
It's this one here.
It's this one, the Skull Island one that's as big as Godzilla?
Uh-huh.
Well, he's like 150 feet tall.
That's not my question. That's a scary looking...
Tarzan, he's the king of the apes.
What if...
Doesn't matter how big the apes are.
What if Tarzan had like the help from the gorillas in Congo?
I haven't seen Congo, so...
You haven't?
No.
What? I mean, gotta see Congo.
I remember my dad watching it when I was younger, but I don't remember any
eating my
details of
sesame cake.
Donut.
Oh, dude, you gotta see Congo.
I'll watch it
for real.
It's on. I think it's on my Netflix queue. But yeah, this is the first look of Kong from Kong Skull Island.
That's a big Twinkie.
he's a much bigger Kong than we've seen before because he's got to fight Godzilla coming down the line, which I'm just unbelievably excited for. I love giant crazy monster stuff.
I liked the way that Godzilla looked, but for me that movie just kind of
I really
there was a lot of talk about whether or not to shoot a missile, and I was like, dude, just shoot it or don't. Stop talking about it.
I don't know. I like that movie a lot when like the alternative was the 1999 Godzilla.
Fair enough.
Come a long way as far as Godzilla is concerned. And they
did have the Asian guy saying Godzilla. So
yeah.
Godzilla.
All right, next up. This is kind of cool. I think it was last week. Talked about why aren't we seeing a J.K. Rowling biopic yet? Mm-hmm. This is close to that. J.R.R. Tolkien biopic is in the works.
Uh-huh.
From New Line Cinema. I would love to see that guy, the guy who created The Hobbit, The Lord of the Rings. Like, I would love to see, like, just a little piece of that guy's life. Just like find out more about him because he's definitely impacted the pop culture.
In what way?
In the way that he created this massive franchise that
everyone could talk about.
Yeah, that nerds eat up. Love it. I just bought this.
What was that?
My precious.
Is that the
got it 99 cents. On eBay from Hong Kong.
Can I have it?
No. Get your own. It's too valuable to me. My precious.
Too valuable to me.
Cyborg Superman is coming to Supergirl.
What?
You remember Cyborg Superman?
Is he the bad one?
He's the bad one.
Okay.
I think he was, if I'm not mistaken, he was introduced in the 90s. During the whole Death of Superman thing. When there was 4 other people claiming to be Superman.
Is Shaquille O'Neal going to be...
Oh, I wish. If they brought him back as Steel, that would be amazing.
Dust off the old boots.
Yeah. I watched that movie when I was a kid. And even then, I couldn't fully get behind it. Even then, when I was eating up shit like Batman Forever and Batman and Robin, I just loved it all.
It's like, all right, guys, come on.
Even then, I was like, oh, really? Come on, Kazam.
Kazam with a hammer.
Yep. But Cyborg Superman he looked, in the comics at least, he looked like Superman, but he was a cyborg, and then he got messed up, and like his face was torn through, and you could see like the metal kind of Terminator skeleton underneath.
Mm-hmm.
And in the comics, it was Hank Henshaw, who we're seeing on Supergirl now.
Okay.
And so early on...
I was wondering why they chose that name.
Yeah, that name. Yeah, that's the name of Cyborg Superman, but because in the first season of the show, before they revealed he was Martian Manhunter, I remember some people saying, "What if he's the Martian Manhunter?" Because his eyes lit up and everything. They had that kind of tease early on.
Yeah.
But I was like, no way, he's the Cyborg Superman. That's what his name is. And then they completely blew my mind because it's like, it is Martian Manhunter. I thought that was too much to ask for and want. Right. But I've always known that Hank Henshaw apparently died back then, so he might be Cyborg Superman. But, you know...
Like they take his body or something?
Yeah. Yeah, like they take his body and make him...
We didn't see what they did.
Yeah, we never saw what really happened to the real Hank Henshaw.
Packed it full of metal and...
Yeah, and because John Jones took his place and has lived his life from there on. So maybe we'll see the actor David Harewood, who plays John Jones, play Cyborg Superman.
Gonna have to fight himself.
The one thing we do know, they've confirmed it's not Tyler Hoechlin playing Cyborg Superman. Which, if it was true to the comics, he looked just like Superman. Yeah. But it's not that. Another option that some people have kicked around. What if it's Dean Cain?
Well, that's a good one.
I believe I got this from comicbook.com because there's a newer version of Cyborg Superman in the comics, specifically in the Supergirl comics, and it's her dad from Krypton, her real birth father, is the current Cyborg Superman. Some people were saying, well, what if they kind of take that idea, but instead of it making her birth father, they make it her Earth father. Yeah. Her, adopted father, who was played by Dean Cain. How cool would it be to see him in the Superman suit again?
That'd be nice.
Yeah, just like it was cool to see, Jay Garrick suit up in The Flash. Like that, they do that shit like that, man.
Like they had kind of thought about putting him in his old school
suit.
Yeah, from the 90s.
Yeah, I'm kind of glad they didn't.
But I can really see why they thought about it.
Yeah.
Would the fans like this or not? You know what I mean?
Yeah. I'm kind of glad they didn't go with that, but it kind of would have been cool to see him.
Yeah.
But that costume was way too much. Like, he talked about, like, I've seen, like, videos of him, like, at panels and stuff talking about working in that suit and how disgusting it was. Yeah. Yeah, I bet you the new suit...
Oh, was it, like, foam, so it kind of...
Yeah, it was foam, and it was hot and sweaty and all that. Wouldn't want to put that guy through all that this many years later and everything.
Can I just wear the jacket?
Yeah. Got a zipper. Easy.
Salad bowl.
Salad bowl hat. All right. This is, this happens a lot these days where we're getting spoilers from movies, from the toys that are being released. Yeah. The tie-in toys and stuff. But in toy news, we've got the first look at the Megazord in the Power Rangers.
Oh, is that what it's going to look like?
Movies. Yeah, or at least this is what the toy's going to look like. So that kind of gives us a rough idea. Just,
what'd you think of that trailer?
Michael Bay it. That's what it looked like. You know what? We saw that trailer. The first time I saw it is when we went and saw Doctor Strange last week. That's the first time I saw that trailer. Right. I was surprised by it. It looked pretty good. Yeah? I'm down. And I didn't realize how soon it is till that movie comes out. It's like March, right?
Is it?
February or March or something?
I like the music for I don't know why. I just was like, all
right. It had a little hint of the old Go-Go Power Rangers and stuff. I was surprised. I would have liked to seen a little more of them in costume and stuff. Right. Like they kind of hit around all that. But from the very little that I saw, I was down. I'm in. Yeah. I didn't expect that here when I heard they were doing a new Power Rangers movie.
I was like, how are you going to make that like...
good? Well, they did that.
That short.
Adi Shankar, he's involved in a lot of those bootleg universe kind of things. Like Dirty Laundry and stuff. I love Dirty Laundry. The Punisher
didn't like about that was the Black Ranger. His costume, like the neck was, it was just like his neck. Like there wasn't like the white turtleneck or any kind of
any connecting.
Right, it was just like the helmet and then the suit.
Just shoot him in the neck.
Yeah, it was a little weird. I was like, why don't you just give the man a turtleneck?
Yeah. Last thing on the news front, there's a new Star Wars Rogue One International trailer. I think it's a Japanese trailer.
Is it the one we just watched?
Yes.
With the Japanese subtitles?
Yeah.
Is that it?
Yeah. There was, a lot of stuff we've seen before.
Yeah.
But there was a little
more of her as like a little girl.
Yeah. You saw her with her mother.
Right.
Her handing her a necklace with a crystal.
Yep. There's always got to be a necklace with a crystal.
But in the Star Wars universe, a crystal is very significant.
Why?
Because it could be a kyber crystal, which is the crystal that powers lightsabers.
Oh, I didn't know that.
They've never really gone into it much in the movies, but in the animated series, in Clone Wars,
okay,
there's a great episode of Clone Wars where Ahsoka and Yoda take a bunch of younglings to this cave, and they go there. I mean, that's what they're called. They take them to the cave, and they all kind of go off and they try to find their kyber crystal. And the cave is like, full of like the Force energy and stuff, and like it has these really cool, and it shows them what each person like kind of has to go through their own little trial. And there's a little Wookiee, and he's awesome. And that's probably one of my top 5 episodes of Clone Wars. It's such a good episode, and if you know nothing about Clone Wars, you can just pick that one up and watch it. It's part of like a, the way that show worked is they kind of did like chunks of like 3 or 4 episode little runs, so it'd be one story that would last like 3 or 4 episodes. But the first one of that is them going to the cave and each little kid getting their own kyber crystal and stuff, and they each learn a lesson. One of them has to learn patience, so he has to sit there and wait for this ice to melt and do that. Get that. I doubt it.
You just gotta sit and wait.
And then, they each have a little lesson they gotta learn, and they get their kyber crystal. They also did it in Rebels, where Ezra went in there and he got his own kyber crystal. And it's just a cool idea, but I'm thinking that's what it is. And the crystal, I mean, the only thing that comes to mind when you think of Star Wars and crystals. And she says, and when she gives it to her, she says, "Trust the Force."
Yeah.
And so, we also got to see a little bit, like a smidge more Vader. In
A New Hope, when they talk about in that scene when they basically talk about this movie.
Well,
did they die?
This, I mean, if you don't know, which I think they might need to do a little bit better job of letting people know that this is not the next film after Force Awakens. This is the not prequel. Prequel's not. They don't want to use that word. That word's been ruined for them.
What?
It basically, this movie takes place right before A New Hope. So
I thought it was kind of during.
No, it's before, because basically this movie, if done well, like it should end and kind of dovetail right into the events of A New Hope.
Right.
Because they get the Death Star plans, and that's what they give. That's what Princess Leia in the very beginning of the movie puts in
like,
R2-D2.
Oh, they died to get us these.
That was in Return of the Jedi.
Was it?
That was the plans for the second Death Star. They say many Bothans died, bringing like.
Okay.
Yeah, that's from that. But in this one, she had the plans at the beginning of A New Hope.
Okay.
And that's what she put on R2-D2.
I was gonna kind of like that message idea, like if you know that they're gonna not fail, but
we know they're gonna succeed, but we don't know if they live.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I was already on board for the movie, but now I'm like
way on board. Next week, a novel. The next Star Wars canon novel, Catalyst, which I'm hearing good things about. I can't wait for it. It comes out next Wednesday. 2 days after this episode drops, so this Wednesday, Catalyst is coming out. James Luceno. I can't wait. I'm loving all the Star Wars audiobooks I've listened to. I've listened to almost all of the canon ones, like the ones that are canon now.
Yeah.
And it's so much fun. Like the audiobooks are fantastic. Like Audible, I get like a new one every month and just listen to those things. But
how long does it take you to go through a book?
A couple weeks, just listen to it here and there. Yeah. I mean, they're roughly anywhere between 9 hours to like 15 hours total. It's not like Game of Thrones. The Game of Thrones ones are like 30-something hours.
Jeez.
Yeah, I haven't dived into those yet. But I think of the canon books, there's only like 2, or not including the Catalyst. Yeah, including Catalyst, there's 2 more I have until I've listened to all of the... Oh, no, 3 more. I'm in the middle of Battlefront Twilight Company, which is slow. It was slow going on me. It's kind of like, the Battlefront game and stuff.
Yeah.
But it's like, told from the perspective of the rebel soldiers, like some of it's called Twilight Company is the group. They're a group of rebels.
Vampires.
So, yeah. So it's interesting to hear that, but... And after that, I've got Tarkin, which is one all told from, Grand Moff Tarkin. And then there's Life Debt, which is part of the Aftermath trilogy. There was Aftermath, and then Life Debt,
Mm-hmm.
But Life Debt. I haven't listened to that one yet, so we got a couple more. And then, but next one up for me, Catalyst. I can't wait. Learn a little bit more about the characters in Rogue One before the Rogue One comes out. I've been hearing it's like if you want to listen to one, listen to that one.
Okay.
And like I'm excited to like listen to it and read it.
See the movie.
You can be like an adult and read a book.
Or
but I like listening to them because when they're done well on the audiobooks.
Well, you can listen to it and then do something else.
Yeah, like I listen to it when I'm driving around or playing games or something like that. I'll play Star Wars Battlefront while listening to.
What a nerd!
Oh, it's the best. I don't care. Call me a nerd. I'm got a shit-eating grin over here. Was there anything else about the Star Wars trailer?
No, I mean it looked really good.
We saw a little bit of Death Star.
Yeah.
Action in there
Plans.
that we haven't seen before. No, we see the Death Star. Like there was like a moment where the Death Star like kind of
no,
eclipses.
That was a moon.
That's no moon. No, it was like an eclipse.
Yeah.
And then the Death Star shoots down on the planet, and we kind of see that from the point of view of the planet.
Mm-hmm.
And that was kind of cool. They can do that kind of stuff now.
Yeah, that'd be scary.
Yeah.
I don't think I'd like that.
All right. So yeah, that's it for the news stories.
Okay.
For this week. Quickly, let's touch on. Let's talk a little bit about some TV. I haven't watched everything. Did you watch The Walking Dead last week?
Yeah.
That one with The Cell is the name
song.
of it. That song has been stuck in my head.
An easy street. Something
so sweet.
Oh my God. I'd have to choke everyone out.
Dude. And like the bummer is that the screwed up, the most twisted part of all of that is they put that damn song in that show over and over. That song's not available for download.
No?
Or at least it wasn't, according to Chris Hardwick after the episode.
Uh-huh.
Like, we can't even buy that and listen to it again. Like,
you can't find it on like YouTube or something?
Probably. I you know what? I did see that someone made like an 8-hour video of just that song over and over.
Why do you think they chose that for Daryl?
I don't know. Like it's just so opposite of his personality and everything.
Yeah, I guess.
It would drive him crazy.
Ugh.
They chose well. And oh God, I mean spoiler alert for all this. I mean, we're just talking about a song. You have no idea what we're talking about though, but spoiler alert if you haven't seen the episode. But like that moment, like what did you think of now knowing?
I wonder if you're about to say the same thing as me. Like keep going.
Well, real quick, the moment where they change it to a different song, and he starts crying and stuff, and he's just he keeps looking back. I keep thinking he's gonna say thank you. Like you know what I'm talking about? Like when he's like crying, like when they finally play a different song. And it just, I think.
Oh, I was gonna say when he's in Negan's that's Negan's room, right?
No, I think that would have been Daryl's room if he said his name was Negan.
Well, and when he's giving his little speech, first of all, Negan's a straight up dickhead.
I love it.
And then when he's like, "Who are you?" And I'm like, "Come on." And he says, "Daryl." And I was like, "Awesome." I got a little tear in my eye. I was like, "Awesome." It's like, bitch, my name's Daryl. I ain't no Negan.
Yeah, but I mean, is he just gonna stay stubborn like that forever? Or are we
I
eventually
hope so.
gonna see him working?
He'd make a good Wolverine.
Norman Reedus?
I think so.
Maybe. Yeah. He's a little bit smaller, but like I kind of want
smaller.
I kind of want a smaller Wolverine. Yeah. I think he's smaller, just compared to seeing him in show with other people. What did you think about Dwight? Now knowing a little bit more about him, his backstory.
Dude, this whole thing is like A Bug's Life. I don't know why they all don't just stomp Negan out together.
Right?
Well, what's he gonna do? Swing a bat at hundreds of people?
I know. Like it's one of those things where like he's so like charismatic and
I don't care how charismatic you are. You're gonna be a dickhead.
I don't know how they don't They could, but the thing is, they're all Negan. Like he has gotten into all their heads, and like, there's only a couple who just kind of break, and the rest of them are just assholes like he is.
Right.
I don't know, man. Yeah. So Dwight, we see a little bit more about him. Is he a little bit more of a likable, maybe redeemable character now, knowing a little bit more about him?
I don't know.
I mean,
dude, he was a straight up dickhead, or like earlier, like taking Daryl's stuff.
True. In the comics, the first time we meet Dwight, he's already got the burn face and everything. They actually did something interesting in the show, is where they introduced him before his normal introduction would have been, and we saw him. So even then, he was
what? Forget Dwight, because he broke Daryl's bike and he's wearing his little vest.
Yeah,
he broke his bike.
To point out, like, even he might have been, he did steal all of his shit before. But to be fair, now we know why he stole his shit before. Yeah. Because he was trying to get the fuck away from Negan.
Yeah, I guess.
Yeah, but, yeah, so
what about the one guy who was just trying to mind his own business and walk away, and Dwight had to be Mr. Big Man?
Oh, yeah.
Just let him walk away. What difference does it make?
Yeah, well, he had to bring him back.
Why?
Because he had to put him on the fence.
How would Negan know?
Because if he didn't put him on the fence, he didn't do what Negan told him to do. This guy, I mean, Dwight, he can tell.
He could just shoot Negan in the face.
He hates Negan, but he has...
shoot him in the face.
Yeah, he could.
I don't want him to shoot him in the face.
I don't know. It's rough.
I really hate Negan.
Next week is going to be the 90-minute episode where we're finally going to get to see Rick and everybody come back to Alexandria. Mm-hmm. So we're going to get to see him explain that.
He's going to bring Daryl back and be like, look, this is my
bitch now.
Yeah. That makes me really angry for Rick.
Yeah. But, like, Rick is so broken now. Like, even in the previews, you see him, he's like, I'm not in charge anymore. Mm-hmm. Negan is. Like, so he just looks like a puppy that pissed on the floor and got whipped with a newspaper.
Okay, as far as Daryl, like, do you think any part of him is like, should I just kind of play the game and then get him, or I'm just gonna have to be Daryl?
That's what I would like for him to do, is play the game and do that. But, like, I don't know if he's just too stubborn to even do that.
He might be.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to see that eventually, because otherwise, I don't know what he's gonna do.
Yeah,
he's just gonna stay and rot in that cell.
Yeah,
I mean, the only thing keeping him alive is that Negan likes him. Which is scary as hell. But yeah, so next week is the 90-minute episode. They tend to do these every year. Like, most of the time they're like season premieres or season finales. This one's just a middle of the season one. But I'm excited because, we see the group getting back to Alexandria, and then Negan comes knocking, and he's there to collect.
I want him gone.
Yeah, I know you do. I know you hate him.
He's just a bully.
But he's a great villain.
Fuck him. I hate him so much. I hate people like him. Look, just trying to mind my own business.
I know. All right. So, Walking Dead, and that'll, of course, the weird thing about our release schedule for the podcast, our episodes come out every Monday. So, people who watch The Walking Dead on Sunday nights are already going to see this episode before we watch it. So, we can't really... we just look like assholes when we make predictions.
I don't
Except for the first week. The first week we nailed it.
We were pretty spot on.
Nailed it. But from then on, I don't know what's going to happen next. So
I hope we don't make any more predictions. I miss Abraham.
Yeah. Okay. So next week, got a lot of... Next week's a cool week for the CW shows. Mm-hmm. And I'm not going to go into any spoilers, and I don't necessarily think any of these are spoilers as to what happens this week or what happened in the last week.
Yeah.
But just real quick, run them down. Supergirl next week. Parasite. Mm-hmm. Remember Parasite from the comics and stuff? The Superman villain?
Yeah.
We're going to see Parasite next week on Supergirl.
Nice.
Wally is getting visions of Flashpoint, of Kid Flash.
Oh, okay.
And The Flash. Nice. So we might see that story.
I really like his costume.
Me too.
He
looked great. Yeah.
This is really cool.
Have you seen that? One of the costume designers released an image of some of the costumes on a rack, and it was the Flash, Kid Flash, the Rival, and Caitlin. What Caitlin Snow's gonna wear? Her new Killer Frost costume.
Oh, she has a new one.
And the new Vibe costume.
No.
Like, it's just the Vibe just looks like a leather jacket. What'd
you think of Jesse Quick's costume?
I thought it looked good too.
Yeah, I like that one.
Yeah, I mean, her costume, it might be a little too much like the Flash's as far as, like, in the comics.
I mean,
I think she didn't look as much like Flash.
Right.
But,
I like the domino mask.
Yeah, that's a difference. Yeah, I like that. But yeah, I'm excited. So Vibe sounds like he's gonna suit up soon. I'm really hoping that Vibe just has to get involved in the crossover. Like I think it's all hands on deck in this crossover, and I want to see him go full on Vibe in that episode, because that's the one. If you're gonna have him fully suit up and be a part of this thing, do it when everyone's there. So it's like, it's a reason for, we have to do this. Like I said, all hands on deck. I can't wait for that. And I think we're gonna see the Killer Frost episode next week, I think.
Okay.
Or no, the week after. Because we got 2 more episodes of The Flash before the crossover.
Okay.
Because we skipped this week.
Why? What happened this week?
No, there was no episode of Flash this week.
No big events happened this week?
No. You know what? I didn't even think about that's why that wasn't.
It is exactly why.
That's one of the reasons that it didn't air that week.
I think they were also, like, you know what? I don't know how many viewers we're going to get tonight.
Yeah, that's true. I didn't even think about that, but because what I was focusing on was the shifting of the episodes around Thanksgiving and also keeping in line with having it be episode 8 of all these shows for the crossover, which the only thing didn't work out for is because Thanksgiving, Thursday with Legends of Tomorrow, that's going to be episode 7 of that series is the crossover, and all the other 3 are going to be episode 8. So yeah. All right, and next week on Arrow, Vigilante.
Nice.
I've already seen. Have you seen images? You're still behind.
I'm still a little bit behind. Yeah.
Yeah. In the next time on, we finally get to see Vigilante in costume. Looks pretty cool. Like dead on to the comics, I think. And then next week on Legends of Tomorrow, Jonah Hex.
Fun.
Another episode of Jonah Hex. Yeah. And then, we watched the first teaser for the crossover episode.
Yeah.
It was mostly just
showing everybody. Yeah.
Meeting everyone.
Yeah.
But
I forget she hasn't met Ollie yet.
She hasn't met anybody other than Barry.
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
Now, I didn't know this. I've been hearing, I keep hearing the 3-part crossover. And I'm like, why 3? There's 4 shows. It sounds to me like what they're doing is Supergirl is kind of going to be its own episode until the end of the episode. And I think the cliffhanger at the end of the episode is probably going to be Barry showing up and like, we need your help.
That's a smart idea, because that way...
Yeah.
That's too much.
Yeah, and then...
I don't blame them for being like, all right, look, here's...
We'll do 3. With a teaser at the end of the 4th. Yeah. So, but, it's going to be called Invasion with an exclamation point. So, yeah, that's based on a 3-part series from the comics that came out in the 80s after Crisis and everything. That's starting November 28th, and it's going to run all week on CW through those shows. I can't wait for that. We'll talk a little bit more about that when that time comes. But until now, that's it for the TV. One thing I want to point out, next week on the show, next week the extended... Or, next Tuesday, or tomorrow when this episode comes out, Suicide Squad is getting released on digital HD as the extended edition as well. So what we're going to do next week, we're going to watch the extended edition. Me seeing the extended edition for the first time, you seeing the movie period for the first time. We'll give our, thoughts on the extended cut of Suicide Squad next week.
That'll be fun.
But until then, if you like this episode, please give us a like on YouTube. Please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Please follow us on Twitter. I'm at Jeff_Grants.
I'm at Steven Tukert. StevenTeuchert.
Subscribe and leave a review on iTunes. All these things really help us share with your friends all that. Visit theamazingnerdiverse.com. I believe we've covered it all.
Yeah.
So until next week, I'm Jeff Grants.
I'm Steven Tukert.
We'll see you next time right here on The Amazing Nerdiverse.
Woo!